What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the Unfair Advantage podcast powered by FASST. I'm your host, Coach Frisby, alongside my co-host and owner, S2Excel Training, my man, Coach Savon Smith, and our moderator for the show, my man, Coach Blue. On this show, guys, we're going to have raw conversations about athletic development, mindset, coaching, and everything that gives you that unfair advantage, whether that's in competition or in life, man. Let's go, guys.
All right. Well, I've been waiting to hear from our basketball savants for a long time. This year we saw a record number of Achilles injuries, which is like near and dear to my heart. But it's something we haven't seen.
It was like three of them, right, in the playoffs. What, Dame?
Dame. Yeah, but more than that, it was Tatum, Dame,
Tyrese.
I feel like it was a couple more.
Yeah, I was knowing those three in the late part of the playoffs.
Major
late part of the playoffs.
It was like 5 or 6. But so, Coach, if we're looking at, obviously Tyrese was the most recent one. How would you handle his rehab? What would be your plan for that? And Dame and Katie in the episode said that all those dudes have been calling him, kind of figuring out, asking what he did.
Advice, really,
After their physical therapy, we need to find out like what could have been the root cause of that. And there's a lot of factors we can look into. We can look into how their body absorbs contact. Over time, these guys are very high-powered athletes. So they're not paying attention to how they absorb force or not. They're just trying to jump higher and be stronger. But are we taking a look at pelvic stability? Are we taking a look at range of motion? Are we taking a look at, do they have efficient plantar and dorsiflexion? So those things ain't being measured. These guys are taking the risk of just going out there and being very powerful and explosive without having an understanding of what they are at risk. So that's why I think testing and measurables and utilizing tools like the force decks that can help you determine what your rate of force development is at that peak at that time, especially late in the year. Maybe doing a few tests on him prior to each game, kind of see when his output is, see what his symmetrical lineup is. So if there's an imbalance there or hamstrings are more risk, we can maybe monitor his minutes a little bit. So I think taking more protocols that way while they're late in the season like that, utilizing those resources and decks, I think testing should be more involved. But so for me, that's what I would do, testing more, getting back into training, and just building his overall confidence and stuff. And then once again, introduce low-grade plyometrics, everything to getting back to play. But a lot of it is really finding out what caused it. That's what I would tap into.
And for the record, it was 7. So it was Tyrese, Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, DeJounte Murray, James Wiseman, Isaiah Jackson, and Drew Smith from the Miami Heat.
Okay. But you touched on it, like the length of the season, you know, and from your a sports performance coach, when you get into the playoffs, those deep runs, how do you go about, keeping their strength there, but keep making sure they stay healthy? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so I think, I'm not judging strength coaches. I'm I have all the answers, but what I would do, probably the safest approach is risk and reward. What's more important at this time? So is strength really a priority right now, or maintenance is more of a priority? And correctives. Correctives need to be more of the priority of their training, late in the season. So to let our audience know, I'm not talking about loading 200 pounds on their spine. That's pretty much irrelevant by now. Now it's more single leg strength, stabilization, being able to gauge your core, having the flexibility, and then doing all the recovery techniques, of the plunging, the boots, all those things, take a toll. I'm not saying they all don't do that thing, but I think what happens is when we strength train as athletes, we're trying to become monsters and beasts, right? So we're trying to squat heavy. We're trying to load heavy. No one's talking about our mechanical disadvantages. No one's telling me about my leverage. So when these guys strength train like that and lift like that, it could be wrong. You know what I mean? Some of those sets could all be wrong, but we're just in there working and we're working and working. And over time, that could come back to bite you. You know what I mean? And just constantly lifting weights incorrectly at a high load. You know what I mean? And no one's really not pointing out to them, say, hey, you don't have proper ankle flexion to be able to get enough depth. Your glutes aren't firing. Who's going to walk around and do all that? I mean, time is of essence. We're in the weight room. They're going to throw those guys in there. They're going to work out, and we're going to, keep it moving. Can we sit there and monitor everybody like that? No, I get that. But at the same time, our key players like Tatum and them, I think we do need to give a little bit more attention, especially in these deep runs and playoffs and stuff.
And on the flip side of that, like I've read a couple articles where they talked about the lack of those quick twitch actions of practice, whatever that is. Obviously, the Olympics this year hurt a lot of dudes. But what do you think about that? The lack of practice as far as just jumping out and playing in the game.
Yeah, I mean, everything's about, when it comes to sports, it's about load and stresses.
Yeah.
So how can you prevent some of the stresses? How can you prevent some of the loads and still put out a good product? You know what I mean? So risk and reward, that's why I said, like, practice, back off maybe some of the practices. These guys play already at elite level. Now it's just really more so how to execute.
Right.
I don't think practice needs to be that intense at that level. I think more of the taking care of the body needs to be a priority. That's just me.
Especially that deep, getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the worst part, with Halliburton is game 7.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you could have did something differently, maybe not practice one time, it's
and
hard
it's probably
to tell.
and for that to happen, there had to have been tightness there before. You know what I mean? So
I think the game before he was out.
He was out.
So
you do think, or you guys both think, that taking off a little bit of practice helped? Because what I was reading was, and this was just people's opinions from doctors, but the fact that they are not practicing is hurting them as much.
And that's what I wanted to get into, honestly, because I feel like, especially once you get to that level, and then you're Tyrese Halliburton, who does make the USA team, they're not looking at practice to, break a sweat. They're going to just shoot around and hang out and then try to jump right back into a game the next day sometimes, So that's what I kind of wanted to get into, and even hear your version of it, just because a lot of times with football, bringing it into my world, we think, we can't have a rest day before a game. We would have Fast Fridays, where Thursday would be the easy day, and the strength coach would be like, you know what, we got to go fast on Friday just to build up for the next day. So
no, I follow that as well. And I truly believe in that type of method. You know what I mean, and concept regarding, like, are you going to have those practices where they're going to be introduced to high intensity training? Because like you said, a lot of times practice is more laid back. Guys aren't pushing themselves as hard, and then as soon as they get in the game, they want to go high speed. So they don't really complement each other. But if you're going to have more serious practices and do things that way, then I think they could be beneficial. But I think it's just kind of counterintuitive what they're doing now.
Good stuff. We'll get to some more basketball, because I know y'all really want to talk some hoops.
I'm good with it, man.
Savon, on your side, also, I think the Lakers sports performance job is still open. If you haven't applied yet.
Hey, you should have been applied, man. You should already applied.
Did I send you the link, or you sent me the link?
Nah, you sent me the link, man. I wouldn't even seen that, man. Hey, he sent me the link.
You ain't applied.
No, sir.
All right, so let's flip it to you, Savon. So if you could train any NFL running back this summer, who would it be, and what would you add to their game?
I like that, man. Getting into some football now, man. Nah, you know what? I'll probably be Ashton Genty, man, the rookie.
Ooh.
I think I love his game, man. He has great contact balance. He's a tough runner, tough runner. I feel like like one of the main things that he's missing is his hands, his route running. We see Saquon, he's catching touchdowns in the end zone on linebackers. I feel like that's the key part in Genty's game that he's missing, where just getting open, you get one-on-one without the ball, then to get the ball, try to make him like a complete running back, like an Alvin Kamara type running back, a guy who can, he can stay in on third down and third and long, and he can make a play and get you a first down just by catching the rock. So I feel like that's what I would add to his game, and he's a good running back. He was Heisman, runner up. I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year this year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I feel like over time, with the way that offenses are going, pass first, pass heavy, I feel like that's what he needs to add. So.
No, I agree. I mean, he was a heck of a running back in college. Like you was talking about, great comparison. Alvin Kamara, they both have great balance. I think that's a very understated area of having balance. In football, being a running back. also just having breakaway speed, like you said, but having the hands. Not a lot of backs in the NFL are efficient like Alvin or Christian McCaffrey, guys that can run routes and catch the ball.
Even Jahmyr Gibbs, that's what we're seeing. Yeah.
So do you think, so even with Detroit, how they utilize him.
Exactly.
So do you think that's the new wave of, or you think it's just what personnel needs for each offense? Do you think big running backs are done? Or you think the more all-well running backs are in?
I mean, that's hard, man. It gets down to what the OC likes, Like, that's the thing. I like Detroit's game. You got Montgomery, he's going to be the bruiser. It's on the goal line, 1-2 yards, you put Montgomery in the game. But to really push the ball down the field, if you have a weapon where in the backfield where you get him matched up with the linebacker who's not as quick, not as agile, and he can get around, that's an easy one-on-one. So I definitely feel like we're seeing the game go that way, 'cause especially being pass-heavy offenses, we're seeing most of that. I think the biggest thing for these running backs, kind of how you talked about is that where it's going. I think the biggest thing, man, is being able to just be a complete back now. That's what teams are looking for,
Yeah, because I think Gibbs is popcorn ready.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got a guy like that, I'm
Electric,
serious.
electric.
Like when you watch him play,
Yeah.
you're just as a fan. As soon as he touched the ball, you think he's gone. So what I'm saying is, I think if you're a back with those type of abilities, that you run a 4-2 or you run a 4-3, I think the price is going to start going back up, for those positions because they're hard to stop.
Yeah,
I think defenses have a hard time stopping them guys.
Yeah, of course, and especially talking about the market for the running backs.
Because it went down there for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Now it's going back up with these guys getting paid.
Unless you're doing what Derrick Henry's doing,
yeah,
the majority of the high-paid running backs are going to be the complete backs to be able to be in a passing offense, but then still get the rock and make a breakout play from 40,
So I got a question with that. But you saying a running back having all those abilities. I know when I came out of high school and college, and then you guys coming in, I'm serious, high school and college. That's how
you laugh.
He laughed because how far it goes back. But what I'm saying is,
what year is that?
The running back position. What I'm saying is what we struggle with, because I came out of high school that just gave me the ball. You know what I mean? There wasn't no route running and all that. But the other part that hurt backs was pass blocking. So are you taking all these prime time backs in NFL? I don't think they pass block well. So like, what is more important? Do you want the back that's going to? Are we done with those backs? Or the backs that can't block anymore? Or those we're just putting in different linemen? We're just, you know what I mean? What are we doing?
I feel like
to get the protection.
They're not as important now, man.
That's what I thought.
It's why keep a guy in when if you can run quick game and get the ball out to get yards? I'm not going to keep the running back in. I'm going to be able to set them up. If you can, build your offense to where you get that matchup with the linebacker, that's easy first down, So I feel like we are getting away from, especially with these linemen. But that's another thing. That's why defensive linemen get paid so much.
Yeah.
That's really it. Defensive linemen, DNs, we're seeing Myles Garrett, them guys, TJ Watt getting paid because that's so important. Because now if your D line's not getting to the quarterback,
because that back's not there to help out no more.
Exactly. That just you're up now. You're up, especially at putting a linebacker on a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, man.
That's a mismatch.
Easy.
It's
a
a cheat
mismatch
code.
always.
Yeah,
exactly. Of course, your DBs, your safeties, they're always fast. They're always good. But then you really see the difference when you get to a 4-2 running back, 4-3 running back compared to 4-6, 4-7 linebacker. And that's where the mismatch is, and that's what offense coordinators
try to
do.
Expose,
They look for the mismatches, especially at that level.
So what would you say my guy Saquon is then? I mean, I know he's a hell of a runner, but
he's a complete back.
He's a complete back.
What I was gonna say, I mean, he was he. I know Josh Allen won the MVP, but he really was the MVP. But he blocks pretty well, right?
Yeah, he definitely does, and that's the thing too.
But he's an old school back though.
Yeah.
Like look, he plays old school. I mean, he can be physical. He can
run routes too.
Yeah,
he can run
powerful.
Routes, man. He can run routes too. So
he's complete, man.
But I think especially with that offense, that's where it gets down to what the coordinator wants. Just because look at the receiving core, look
the
at your
best
tight end,
receiving core in the league.
Yeah.
So
then
you said it.
Yeah, then they'll get to that point where you know what,
and Hurts can run.
Let's give our time. Let's give our receivers some time to work. Now let's keep them in, and if there's nothing there, Saquon leak out, give the ball to Saquon.
Look how they use him in New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He never
Yeah.
really had a breakout season because he
Yeah.
never had the weapons around
Yeah.
him, and then he gets to Philly like
Yeah.
right away, and he showcases his talent, and he
Yeah.
stayed healthy. So
And the O-line is special.
yeah,
Exactly. Yep. That's a key part
Okay.
too.
Okay. Well, this was great. We're gonna keep talking football.
Okay.
'cause I know y'all can keep talking about that.
Yeah, for sure.
What year was high school though?
And I'm not doing that right now, man.
I'm
I'm not doing
curious.
that right now.
19. I don't want to get into it. Go ahead, man.
Okay. All right. Well, let's rewind this for the listeners. For the guys who don't know who you are, guys and ladies, talk about that a little bit. Why you decided to launch the pod, and what the unfair advantage really means to each of you. Coach, you can go first.
Who I am? All right, man.
Yeah, who you are.
I started FAST. I'm a founder of FAST Sports Performance Training here in Winchester, Virginia, going into our 13th year. I started this company in a storage room of a church gymnasium, and I started, like I said, with just passion, and a purpose of helping our local athletes, bridge the gap, try to establish more opportunities to get out of here. Some of the things that was, our kids just aren't big enough, fast enough, strong enough. So, I tried to bring a program here, and it's been, very successful for the most part over like I said, the past few years, helping our athletes. And there's a lot of work that goes on in here, man, behind the scenes regarding true athletic development, getting athletes to where they need to be, not only physically, but also mentally. And that's where the idea of starting the podcast. I want to like pull the curtains back. I want to be able to share what we do with our athletes in here, some of the concepts, some of the methods that we've used over the years, and systems that help create these, really good athletes and give them opportunities. So this platform gives me a more, calm setting. I'm not a big video, talking to a video guy. But this will allow me to, seriously, use this platform and be resourceful. I want to be informative and resourceful. And we got a lot in store, for this podcast, for this platform, not just my opinions and my ideas, but bringing in other people and other profession in this profession, physical therapists, so we're gonna have real, like I said, real raw conversations, like I said, about athletic development, mindset, and everything that gives us that unfair advantage.
Yeah,
definitely. Yep. Man, Savon Smith, Winchester guy. I started at S2 Excel.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get there, I did go to Richmond. I wasn't just a running back. I did a little bit of everything. But
sure.
I started S2 Excel. It's position training business, mainly just because in Winchester we don't have that, and I feel like that's one of the things that I needed. And during high school and even college, when I got back here, I never really had that resource. So, but for this podcast, I feel like the main thing that I just want to be a resource and from a different perspective. You've been in the business. You've been in the business, like you said, 13 years. I'm just starting out. This is month 7 for me.
Yeah.
And I was a guy who was able to play Division I football and kind of just be a resource for parents, athletes in high school who are trying to figure out how to get there, but then also new trainers, new coaches, to be able to understand what to add to their teams, what can parents do to be able to add and help their kid get there and kind of what's needed, so to get to that next level. And I feel like that's the biggest thing for the podcast is just us being resources, and dropping knowledge. Like you said, be raw conversations, be real, and I feel like that's what we're missing. And
Yeah, and that's what's going to give, our goal is to give people the unfair advantage, whether it's from physical development or football skill development. This is what this podcast is for. So if you're out there and you're watching, you want to tune in each week, I'm telling you, we're going to have real, like I said, real conversations and share all the stories from our side, some of our guests, that what gave us all the unfair advantage.
Okay. All right. And you came to FAST, right?
yeah, man. Yep. And I came to FAST as I think 7th grade is when I started,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, he was over there in the warehouse, man. When he moved to the
What I
warehouse
just
and
talked about.
yep, in the warehouse. And yeah, man, I think I wasn't that's when I was a middle schooler, not as consistent. I really got consistent once I got to high school, but once I trusted the process and I knew that, this is the place that's going to help me get to the next level, become a Division I athlete. And I knew especially the mindset and mentality that Frisby put into each workout, you couldn't find that. And that's where the unfair advantage came from, So
Yeah.
just being able to
Appreciate that.
be able to be around a coach that, is not really not for themselves. It's more for, you know what, they just want to see you grow. And that's what I take into my training. You know, it's not nothing about me. It's just seeing the guys that you're training, for you, the girls that you're training reach their own goals. And that really inspired me just outside of the football space to become a trainer, you know, to be able to be a resource, to be there for guys and help them reach their goals that they needed to reach. So
yeah, and you are being modest. You were high school player of the year, right?
yeah,
10th grade.
10th grade, yeah, man. Yeah, after that,
10th grade.
yeah, I remember my freshman year. Yeah, Frisby really after that summer, because I played varsity as a freshman then.
Yep.
And we had a lot of guys leave, and I just remember like that freshman summer going in my sophomore year, I was in here consistently.
Got after it.
Yeah, really got after it. So yeah, credit is there for Frizz, man, and FASST. Everybody was in here, even the coaches that were here before, man.
No,
Great
I appreciate
staff.
that, man. Appreciate that a
Are,
lot.
are you in the Hall of Fame somewhere?
A little bit.
Where?
Just a little
Yeah,
bit.
talk about that.
Nah,
I did
man, just a little bit, man.
I did a little. I did a little of my own research.
Nah, man.
'Cause
I
knew you
don't think I
wasn't-
heard that.
I don't want to
knew you
talk
wasn't
about
saying-
me though. I don't want to
Well,
talk.
this segment is about you, so
Man, nah.
talk about the Hall of Fame, man. What's the Hall?
I ain't in no Hall of Fame, man.
For running back? Or
Nah,
what?
I'm not in no Hall of Fame.
Yes, you are, man.
I'm not listening to him. Man.
Okay, don't worry. I'm gonna put the link.
Hey,
Put the link in the video.
Yeah.
I had a decent high school career, but my training. What I'm saying is this: listen, we're not gonna talk about me and
That's
my
all right.
past.
Go ahead. I'm gonna get it out of you. So
But I want to
don't worry.
piggyback off what Savon was saying and try to add some stuff to that. Like when he was young, seriously, like he had a different mentality than other kids.
Yeah.
See, that's different. Like so, training and coaching kids that have that edge and want to be better, like that's easy, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like all I gotta do is just guide them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they got the steering wheel, they're ready to roll. Then there's the flip side. There's kids I gotta walk them through the whole process. You know, I'm hands on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hands on, motivating, coaching, cueing. You know, putting them in the right positions because they're not really working hard to get in those positions. So that's more taxing. But when you got a kid that comes in, you know, he knows what he wants. He just wants to be guided and directed in the right direction. I tip my hat off for that because we do live in different times now, and I love the kids we do train now. But I think the mentality is different than it was a few years back.
And that tells about your experience, man, as a coach. And that's what I'm trying to get into. Really trying to learn how to train different guys. Not every guy's gonna be a rah-rah, loud guy on the field to want to reach his goals. There you are gonna have those guys who are just okay to be there, Then you got to get them going. So definitely, I always saw that he was being able to adapt to who he was training, and that's what I'm.
And that's going to come, like you said, that's just going to come
Yeah.
with experience because I've had my. I mean, it's just like when you speak in front of an audience.
Right.
You know, a lot of us are looking to get approval. You know, who's looking at us? What kind of facial expressions are they making? People are quiet. They ain't really saying nothing. Are they really enjoying it? So it's just for me. I got to take a look at the kid, see how they're really handling the experience. And if they're going to shut down, if I'm very aggressive, then I got to adapt. And then vice versa, if it's the other way, I got to be hard on them if that's what they do want. So that's just going to come with time and being introduced to different personalities and kids. The more you do, you'll be able to adapt to all of them.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Because it's still the same common goal. You're trying to just get them better.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's just like been the hardest part. With S2Excel, we're position training, so the biggest things like I built this brand off of is the technical side, the ball skills, playmaking, how to play football. Then we get to the tactical side, is which more just your IQ to understand football, slow the game down for you. So being able to like get to those kids and help them understand the game. Sometimes I can't do it the same way all the time, right? And then we can get to the psychological side of it is just being prepared, mentally getting ready for a game, getting there, and then of course leave the physical side for what you do, right? So it's definitely a different than just giving them a workout, putting them through a workout. It's also just like making them feel confident, and that's the hardest part where I'm trying to handle that, is where understanding that not every kid is going to be 100% the most confident kid in the world, and trying to pick them up to even gain a little bit confidence in their game is that's really what I'm focused on now with.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about it is that what you do is you can give a kid instant gratification. just making a catch.
Yeah, definitely.
Like for me, it's a process. Like I need you to
The numbers.
trust in me for months, to get stronger, lift weights, jump higher. You know what I mean? So I think you need to use that to your advantage too. Like all their little small wins, because they can build a lot of them out there within one session of picking up things you tell them to do, whether it's catching the ball a certain way or running the route. But for me, I think it's a lot harder because I need kids to continue to believe in something that they don't see yet.
Yeah.
And they may not see it for a while. So
yeah, and so let's keep digging into coaching, because that's what I feel like is where we're going with that. So why don't we start with you? What do coaching cues like really mean to you, and what's maybe one of your favorite ones, or something you find yourself doing all the time?
Yeah, man. I'll definitely. That's the thing about starting this position training thing. I see a lot of guys doing the same things over and over again. So with like cues, I try to find ways to help them understand it. Understand it better. So one of the things that I like to do is like I talk about a guy's bubble. Imagine you have a bubble around you, and if you step too far outside your frame, you pop the bubble, right? So a lot of times I say, look at your base. Make sure you don't get too wide on the cut. That's what I did a lot of times, and I had hip surgeries, broken foot, and it led to the wrong places. But now that's why I teach my guys first is focus on your base and then even your height.
Yeah.
You stand straight up, and you're not going to get the most out of the cut that you make because you popped your bubble. And I feel like that's the easiest. That's my go-to every session, that you can always see how a guy cuts, how if he steps too far out of his frame, he didn't get enough. He feels it, He can tell that, especially once you start working with me for a while, you can understand, like, I wouldn't even need to say it. Because it gets to the point, it's like, I didn't get enough out that cut because I'm too far outside my frame. So
Oh, that's real.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
What is yours?
What was the question again?
Or I guess what does coaching cues mean to you, and probably what are some of the things you find yourself saying a lot?
No, I think coaching cues is what separates coaches. I think it's what sets a lot of different coaches apart regarding how they connect with their athlete and get the most out of the athlete, because a cue is teaching someone how to execute. You know what I mean? It's teaching them how to do it the right way. So what type of your word selection, your choice is very important on what you're trying to get that athlete to do. So I have a lot of different coaching cues because I do a lot of different things. But like specifically in the weight room, whether it's like say they're back squatting, I always say initiate at the hip, because a lot of people, when they start to descend in the squat, they just start squatting. And a lot of times their knees push forward and they just start going down. And I don't want them to start there. I want them to say, hey, before you start pushing hips out, same way as you would set on the toilet. You're gonna push back first. But a lot of people when they're back squatting, they don't want to push back because that's where they got to rely on their glutes. They like to rely on their quads. Most athletes are quad dominant, so that's why they want to go down, like pushing their knees forward. So when I say initiate from the hips, push straight back, and then as you start to descend, keep your chest up and just push your knees out. And that keeps most of my athletes in a vertical position. And if they can't be in a vertical position, then there's some type of mobility issues. So, and then I use different cues for speed training. So I think cues is the more you can expand your vocabulary of your word selection with your athletes, that is what's going to help set you apart as a coach.
And communication, honestly, that's, I feel like
they understand.
Yeah,
like that connection is there. You say the right word, they feel it, and it's
it
like,
changes
wow,
their
it
mindset,
changes right away.
They're like, okay, this is what I gotta fix.
Yeah.
You could be doing it a certain way, telling them how to, how to squat, how you said, but then the moment you said like you're sitting on the toilet, boom, something will change.
And I've been in the game so long, man. I watched trainers and coaches coach people for hours and never tell them that they did something wrong, or they didn't know what coaching cue to give them.
Right.
They sat there and watched them goblet squat, and they're squatting, and their heels are coming off the ground, and they're just really just sitting there watching. And they're like, "Yo, keep going." You're just like, "What?" So for me, I'm going to try to. I got OCD too. I'm gonna try to address that right away.
Yeah,
I mean, and try to fix that.
And that's what I love, though, honestly, because I remember training here, talk about sprinting 40s, man.
Yeah.
I remember the first thing Frisby said to me, your feet flat as hell. Like, you got flat feet. Let's fix that. We gotta get to the details. So Definitely, just the little things like that is.
That's huge though, because you got a kid like him working hard. He's in the weight room. He starts getting self-doubt. Like, why am I doing what everyone says I should be doing? I'm getting stronger. I'm squatting more. I'm hang cleaning more, but my numbers aren't changing, and no one's going to say, wow, let's start at the feet, and then we're going to say, okay, well, structurally, we can't change his flat feet, but that already going to let me know that he can't absorb force efficiently.
Right.
And I know I'm going to lose that absorption of force the farther he runs. So now we're going to lose top end speed. So we just need to try to take what we can do and make him better at what that is. So if that's a shorter sprint, he just got to get better in his 5 to 10. He's got to get better in his change of direction movement, because we're not going to be able to optimize the flat feet to an extent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we can do a lot of other things regarding strengthening his Achilles and his calves, trying to get him better plantar and dorsiflexion where he can absorb force a little better, but just structurally in general, his feet's not going to absorb as much force efficiently, and then that's going to have leakage in his energy coming up to his ankle, knees, and hips, and that affects his time.
Yeah, yeah. Coach Smith, I don't know if you know, but Winchester is one of the fastest growing cities
I can tell,
in Virginia, and so that means that there are a lot of new people moving in, new families. And
hey,
a lot of families, with some kids who love to play football, who love football, and a lot of kids who are still looking for the right trainer or football guy to kind of help them accomplish their goals. So you see, I'm leading you up to this, so I know you're getting your answer ready.
I can tell.
So I'm a family, or I'm a kid, and and I've looked you up. I looked up all your stats, your accomplishments. But I still want to kind of figure out why should I come to you? Why should I send my son to you?
Excel, man.
Yeah. Took my time with that one.
I mean, honestly, I played football for a long time, man. I played since I was 5 years old, 18 years playing football, man, understanding the game. I've been through so many trainers, physical therapists, coaches. I've seen all the different type of coaching styles. And with me, I've learned, how to, especially in these 7 months, I really learned how to really dig deep down into how to get a player better, because I've always wanted that, I've always wanted a coach to help me. Of course, Frisby helped me lift, get faster, but I want my IQ to go up.
Yeah.
I was shifty. I was a guy who can make someone miss, but my IQ was staying the same until I got to college. It was with a real running back coach. So now the biggest thing with S2 Excel, man, is just slowing the game down for him, give him an understanding for why you're doing what you're doing. Why do you have to make this type of cut? Why do a jump cut is better here? Understand where the linebacker is going to be already before they get there, and that's the biggest thing, is just increasing
decisions.
Exactly, making it faster, and that's how the game comes easier. And instead of waiting until college like I did, we can start in middle school. We can start early to be able to get them ready and understanding it so they can be ahead of the game. So
I was watching Netflix, the trailer, the quarterback one, and I was just it felt like the pre-snap of the quarterback, like all those things he has to do in 25 to 30 seconds. And I'm sure those guys started in, like you said, middle school, which is why they're where they are. So basically you can get somebody's son or daughter or son to the NFL.
Nah, I don't know. Hey, we gonna get there. Yeah. We gonna try our best. That's up to the kid. Don't put that pressure on me yet, man.
But if you teach an IQ that early, man,
I
would say that's what it takes. That's half the battle if you're talented. Right?
Definitely, yeah. And that's the thing too, man. When I got to college, I was so behind. I felt like, once I got the ball, everything was good. But once we broke the huddle, I'm thinking about the play, what gap it's in at, who's the unblocked man, and it took me forever. The ball snapped, and I'm already late.
Yep.
So now, even blocking wise, like we kind of talked about, just as a running back blocking, they get to the point where they talk about a 3 technique on the D line, and I'm like, what the hell is a 3 technique? I'm in college. I had to sit down and meet with the OC. I think it was during camp my freshman year, and he's like, "Do you know what this D lineman is?" And I'm like, Nah, I'm gonna be honest, coach. I don't. I need you to teach me now. Like I didn't learn that until until I got to college already. But then that's why the OC got to the point where it was like, you know what, just get on the ball and make somebody miss.
Right.
And then
use your talent, man.
Yeah,
Let's go.
use that. But that's the biggest thing. I got a couple of high school guys going to college, and they've been doing like Zoom calls with their coach where they learn plays, and he's like, I'm answering all the questions ahead before everyone else because in the wintertime when we did the board work, I taught them all that already, and so now they're feeling confident, kind of how I talked about confident, and the coach looks at them and is like, oh yeah, this guy's ready. So
yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up that you take them in the classroom, and actually do that.
Yeah, I mean, because I think what you're trying to deliver, your message, at the same time, is you want them to. I'm all about all work and good work.
Okay.
So you can train for 10 straight years, right? But if it was bad training, what did you get?
No progress.
You know what I mean? Like, what did you really get? Because if you are out there making those kids do rep after rep right, a lot of them will transfer those reps. But reps that where guys are just going to training and workouts and just working out and just working out and just working out. No one's really telling them what they're doing wrong or not doing better. Like, that work doesn't really lead nowhere. I mean, but just exhaustion, frustration, and I'm being real because I've seen a lot of kids not only come to FASST, and I'm not talking about, trainers in general, but that just train other places or just train on their own or just been in school that don't have a clue to what efficient movement is. You know what I mean? You're just like, so what have you been doing for the past year or the past 2 years, whatever, regarding, your understanding of what you should be doing? And that's where I have a problem because there's kids that are out here really trying. They may not have the resources and the tools. But like I said, all work ain't good work, man.
No, definitely. And I'm glad that you said that, honestly, because the biggest thing with my training, man, you'll see it from the film room translate to us training. I'm not just throwing cones out there and making you do one cut, but I'll show you where this will apply to in the game. Prepare you for, if we got inside zone, to where to expect the next blocker to be. I had 3 different offensive coordinators in college and then 4 different running back coaches in my time there. So they were all great coaches. Great coaches, just, things happen, people move on, but I learned so much, a different variety, different perspective from each coach. I had one coach, he came from the CFL, a guy from Penn State, D2 coach. I'm learning different perspectives, and that's the biggest thing with S2 Excel is I've seen majority of everything. I've seen all the different ways to run inside zone, outside zone, to play a receiver. That's the biggest thing where I try to apply it to them. If I have a guy going to college and we watched film together of his college, so now I'm preparing him for that, and we're running. If I forget the school that he's going to, but if you run in pistol, we're going to set you up and train just being in pistol, pistol formation, to learn and understand how your foot should be, how your footwork should be, how fast you should be getting to the quarterback. So I really take it's passion for me. I don't take that lightly. Like I really do my own homework. To be able to help this guy that I'm training be as prepared as he can be. So
See, but that's the thing though. You're helping because you understand how to help.
Right, exactly.
See, some people want to help, but don't really understand how to help. So they're out here training, they're coaching, and they really don't have the understanding to be able to build something special.
And they don't know how to translate.
They care and they want to coach because they have a passion for coaching, and that's cool. And I'm not knocking that. It's just though at the same time,
sound like it though.
I'm not knocking that, but I mean, because I wasn't always at the level I am as a coach. You know what I mean? But I always knew when I was a younger coach, I had to get better because I wanted better athletes. So if I want better athletes, I have to get better understanding. And I have to get around people that produce better athletes. So now I've changed my whole situation. Like, hey, I used to be the coach when I first started. I don't know the degree in this. I used to be the coach that was just a great motivator. I like pushing people. That stuff was cool, and it got me so far. But when it came to really helping athletes get to the next level, understanding force development, understanding proper weight training, all the different methods, because you get stubborn and you get stuck in your own way because there's so much more out there. So you do is hate on it.
Right.
You just hate because you're like, that coach thinks he knows it all. He thinks because he talks about inversion, eversion, proximal, distal, and you kind of hate a little bit because you're like, there's no way I can become that. So I'm gonna stay where I'm at. I'm gonna be the big muscle guy, and I'm just gonna motivate. I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to evolve. So I said, hey, you know what? You got to dig deeper. You got to study more. You're gonna have to put yourself around the like-minded people, physical therapists, and study and learn different experiences from different athletes you're training. And that's how I was able to evolve. But it's been 25, 30 years, you know what I mean? But I just think a lot of coaches do have good hearts and they want to help, but it's deeper than just helping.
Right, no, definitely.
You know what I mean? You owe that kid more than that. You have to learn more because you can't help more. Your help is going to stop somewhere. You know what I mean? So then, so then, like, where you utilize that now? Would I keep going for you, or do you recommend me to go somewhere else? And that's my whole thing with, like, when I have a lot of kids want to go train for the 40 for college and stuff. You can stop telling kids to go lift weights and their 40 is going to get better. Like, that is far from true. You know what I mean?
So that's not going to work.
So if you really want a speed specialist and someone to really help you establish your 40, find that person. That's it.
But that's the beauty of, like you saying, becoming a student of the game.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you did to go to the next step. And I think, Savon, like, people don't understand, and I think a lot of people do understand how sophisticated college is, but like you said, you have four running back coaches. Right. So at that level, you got to surround people that know more than you about something, or can benefit, or can make your program better, because that's what a really good head coach is supposed to do.
Exactly. Yep.
Except that he doesn't know everything, or she doesn't know everything. And the beauty of really good assistants they are supposed to become head coaches. That's just what it is. And you got to keep hiring good ones. So all that to say is that people have to take advantage of, and this is me, like, have to take advantage of somebody who's been at that level.
Right.
Because understanding how many great minds you've been around and that you picked. And, like, that's, for me, that's like 1% of 1% of dudes in college, because it's hard to coach at that level, especially Division I level.
And the impact, man. The coaches, I had 4 different coaches, but they all had a different impact on me, I had a coach he wanted to specialize in blocking.
Yep.
Now I feel like I know everything about blocking, even though of course I could always know more, but I got that part from him. Then I had a coach he was the receiver coach at Penn State and became a running back coach at Richmond.
Yeah.
I became a better route runner, you know?
Yeah.
And then the CFL coach, he was an O-lineman coach in the CFL.
Wow.
So now I'm seeing the holes
running through gaps
10 times better. I know where the unblocked man is going to be. So, like, that's the thing with me becoming a trainer. I understand football. Like,
you've been exposed to things to help broaden that, though.
Exactly. I feel like the biggest thing with my training is just how to, give it to my athletes.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, like Frisby says, happens over time, the relationship, the communication, but I know football, so.
Yeah. So we want it right there.
For sure, man. That's why we partner,
man. Yeah.
So, Coach, flip side to you, this is FASST's 13th year in business, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Not at this. How long we been at this location?
I've been at this location about 7.
Seven.
Yeah,
okay.
About 7 years.
This is going on 8.
Going on 8.
Going on 8. Okay. Okay. So I'm, again, Winchester's growing. I'm a new family. I got a couple, young teens. I think they're pretty talented. Why should I bring them to FASST? I know there's a lot of other, programs around in Winchester, but
a lot of
I've
new
heard
programs around here, man. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Frizz.
But I've heard really good things about FASST. I just haven't put the face to the name of Coach Frisby. So why should we come to FASST, and what do we expect when we come to FASST?
I'm gonna be very transparent with that. We're results driven. I'm all about results. Anybody that's trained with me over the past 13 years or whatever, been in my presence, I'm about getting you better, holding you accountable. And I try to share that with my other coaches in here. We all got our different styles and approaches and how we relate that. But the goal is to get results. And I put my parent hat on with that, because it's all about investing. You're spending money. So I believe we need to return that. We need to give the person who's investing in the money, We need to give them that product and that service that they're looking for. So to answer your question, like if you're moving into this town and you have young kids and they're looking for a place to develop, stop here, man. I mean, this is where you want to start. I mean, we got a proven systems.
Yeah.
We're not no coincidence. You know, people could say, okay, well, you trained this kid, he was already good. Or you trained this kid, he was already good. Dude, I can go back 13 years and talk about athletes. You know, we can go through the Winchester Star, not bragging and all that, but just really trying to
go for it.
Let people understand, like, this ain't no coincidence. I mean, this year alone, we've had, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 player of the years. And you can ask the kids themselves, you know, if FAST is beneficial. You know what I mean? If they're going to tell you, yeah, it's been really beneficial for my development. So when you're creating cultures like that and you got history of just kid after kid after kid after kid, if that's what you're looking for to come be a part of it, but then there's a flip side of that, then you can say, well, that's too intimidating for me. The expectations there is high.
Yeah.
You know, they want their kids to be good. So that may be a little overwhelming for some kids. So once again, it's about preference. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you want to get better, if you want to get up on the board and, you know, be a Super Bowl champ or, you know, or, you know what I'm saying, or go to Division I football, like my man over here, I got to throw a few names and stuff out. You know what I mean?
That's too many, man.
Let's keep it real.
Too many, honestly.
Know? Let's keep it real.
Too many.
Wow, I thought we were gonna be modest tonight.
It's the first episode, man. We gotta break it down for them to let them know who's really on the mic.
All right.
Hey, listen, man. That's why the Unfair Advantage is here. This is my platform to speak my mind, you know, and for my viewers to really get to see another side of me.
Yeah.
And for my viewers to really get to know me a little bit more and what I'll offer here, you know.
Yeah. All right, well, that's a wrap for episode 1. We got a lot. We're just getting started. We got a lot of good things coming up. For the next episode, we're going to talk about exactly what sports performance is, actually. Why just throwing around weights doesn't really cut it, because there's that myth we're going to debunk. How testing with force decks changes how we train.
For sure.
And we're going to learn what those are. And how Savon deals with social media and the coaching culture with that. So make sure you subscribe and follow us on this journey. If you enjoyed this, share this with your family and friends or anybody who's passionate about sports and sports performance.
Absolutely.
Hey, that's a wrap, man. Hey, thank you guys, man. Good show.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys out there. See you soon.